A healing hour for October 30th, 2018. All right, we should be live now. So come on and join us. This is Tyson Bannigan for the healing hour. We're live on Facebook for the next hour to answer your dowsing and energy healing questions. There's three ways that you can join us. You can put into Facebook, Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy, ask your questions there and they'll get answered, or you can click the Zoom link, join me live on Zoom, or you can phone in toll free 1-866-369-7464. If you're listening to the show now, please share it to your network and click the link so that you can join me every week at this time at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the healing hour. So we're going to just start the show now. So I'm just going to head over and we're going to be answering questions and requests for healings on in the Dowsing and Energy Healing closed Facebook group. So if you're not a member of that, I really encourage you to sign up. And of course, there are questions for every day that have to do with personal, planetary, building clearings, and the way in which you can ask questions and receive answers. All right, it looks like we're over there now, and we have another person who wants to join the group as well. So we're just going to join them into the group here. All right, so thank you, everybody, for being a member of this group. I think we're now at 3,100 members. All right, so we're going to start answering questions here, which will start with a personal dowsing Tuesday. And we have 11 requests for assistance there. Charlene Christoph says disappointment and fear. Okay, we'll take a look at clearing that. And Candle Arawak, that which is prohibiting me from recalling and understanding language I've spoken in many a past existence, so be it. Thank you. That's a really interesting one, yes. It says the content's no longer available. Candle, I did get that even though I can't respond to it. That's really interesting because in our DNA, we have the ability to remember all of our past lives, and so also all the language that we spoke. In actual fact, when we raise our vibrational frequency, we'll move beyond language, and then we will be able to, decode or translate any language because it will be the language of light. So, and also at that level, then you also can then communicate with the whales and the dolphins, the elementals, and all other star nations and beings, because at that level it's telepathic and beyond words. So in this third dimension, we use words. Words are very powerful, but they are also limiting because we also have different concepts and interpretations for get a bit confusing about what it is that we're actually talking about. So we have two attendees here. We're going to bring them in right now so that they can join us here. So welcome Ruinous to the show. And we're going to make him be a panelist so he can join us. And then we have another guest. Hi, Ruinous. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Dyson. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just going to bring another guest on here. Just give me allowed to talk and the guest and promote the panelist. So as a guest, if you want to just say hello, your sound is off down in the right left-hand corner. Unmute audio. So you have to unmute yourself, whoever you are the guest. You are now healing hour. There you are. So would you like to say hello? You who guessed, you are now live. Anyway, you're now unmuted, and we'll come back to Ruinous. So Ruinous, what's up in your life?
To live every day.
Everything.
Every day is a battle.
Every day's a battle. How about
Yes.
every day being full of joy and
And joy. It is.
grace?
It is. But that's how we're being, created in this three-dimensional world. We're going through the challenges every day.
Well, it's interesting because I was just talking to my good friend Karen Laurie, and she lives in bliss 24/7, 365. And I've asked her, well, how do you do that? And she said, well, it was a conscious choice I made. And the more I chose it, the more it became my natural state of being. And she's just finishing a book, and it's available now, or as a pre-order on Amazon, and will be coming out, I think, in December. I can't remember whether it's the 4th. Anyway, it's called, what is it called? Like chronic, I can't remember, chronic love or chronic engagement or chronic bliss, I think it's called. So she's trying to get across it. How do you stay in bliss 24/7, 365? I know for me, I could touch bliss every once in a while. I can be in the divine flow. But like you, Ruinous, I tend to think of my day-to-day as a bit of a struggle. I'm trying to solve this problem or that problem, or get my computer to work, or figure out how to do this or how to do that. So I agree with you. Learning how to be in a divine flow and have a life of ease and grace is something I'm still learning how to do. I'm certainly not like Karen, where she experiences 24/7, 365.
Just accept as a simple reality. We can't escape. Some people and think, you can escape from the challenges. It's impossible. That's the whole purpose of our life in here.
Yeah, it's not trying to avoid challenges. It's not even skipping the challenges, or it's not like being an ostrich burying your head in the sand. It's just that you can choose whether you want to be joyful and learn what you can from the challenge and stay in joy, or to think of it as a struggle. So it's really as a mindset, and we have that choice in every moment, whether we want to go from our human mind conscious, which is this is a struggle, I have to work hard to succeed, or whatever the story is, or we can step into the divine flow, which is our true nature, and know that our life could be full of ease and grace, that there's a lesson in this challenge. What is it? Let's learn it. Let's move through it, and let's maintain that state of grace. So yeah, it's not an easy thing to do, that's for sure.
Well, the challenge involves, again, we're talking every day or every second, every Tuesday about emotions and about thoughts. And many people tend to deal with the challenges from perspective of emotions or negative thoughts. Hello, Trudy. And that's very important thing to understand, that the challenges, they're always going to exist, and we're always going to deal with them. The question is how we're going to deal. Are we going to be in a bad emotion, in the negative, so to speak, mood or vibrational level, or we're going to take every challenge more rational and understand the challenge as inevitable thing. So we just have to grow on that, and then we overcome the challenge. We're growing on that spiritually as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with you. So we have Trudy. Trudy, your sound is off. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, sorry, I'm running a little late.
That's all right. We're in the afternoon here. Welcome to the show. We have Samsung Gallery out there. I don't know who's on a Samsung. I'm just going to, you can unmute yourself and say hello if you want. So if you just joined the show with the Samsung Gallery S7, you've got your sound and your speaker off. And we also have a guest. I don't know what the name is. Your speaker is now off, and you can say hello as well. So We have a
Hi.
number of people on the call.
I'm Jill.
You're who?
Jill.
Joe.
Jill, Jill.
Oh, Jill, are you the Samsung lady?
No,
Are you-
I'm the guest.
You're the guest. Oh, well, Jill, welcome to the
I'm
show.
an old friend of Mike's, and that's how I found you on this. So I'm just sort of trying to absorb what you guys are saying right now.
All right. Well, this is the Wellness Show. You get to ask any questions about dowsing or energy healing, and lots of people ask questions over in the Dowsing and Energy Healing closed Facebook group. There's sort of a series of questions for every day of the week. And during the show, I tend to go over there and answer some of those questions and do some of those clearing requests. So if you're not a member of the Dowsing and Energy Healing group, you might want to join there as well.
Okay, thank you.
And that's certainly a possibility. And look who we have here, Miss
Hi.
Samsung herself.
Yeah, hi Tyson.
Hi, how are you
I'm
doing?
I'm doing really great. How are you?
Good, good.
I'm just tuning in before I pick up Xavier from the bus, but I know I promised that I would join one of these, so I just wanted
Here
to.
you are, yeah. So I'm excited that you were able to jump on. So when does Xavier come home?
Pretty soon. I gotta leave in about half an hour to get him.
Right. So yeah. So this is the dowsing and energy healing. So do you have anything you want to get cleared? Is there anything happening in your life right now before you have to go get Xavier?
Well, just a little bit of illness with my family. You know, my brother's still dealing with his issues. So if there's anything we can do to help him out, that would be really awesome. Him and my dad are at the doctor right now. So we'll see how
What
that
sort of
goes.
things are going on?
Well, I guess it must be something with his liver and pancreas. He's been not able to eat and all sorts of pains. So I've been doing homeopathics and, you know, the lasers and cannabis and all sorts of stuff with him. But, you know, he's not overly consistent. So if we can take matters into our own hands energetically, I'm sure he would accept that gift from us.
Yeah, okay, let me just see what's going on with him. What's his name?
Randy.
Randy. Okay, Randy, what's going on with you? Yeah, he's like about 50% of his normal energy. So yeah, so let's see. Do we need to know anything before we clear Randy? No. Can we just give him an energetic boost? Yeah, absolutely. So here goes. So what's Randy's last name?
Burkholz.
Burkholz. So I, Tyson Bannigan, my holy name, clear and remove all non-beneficial energy in and around and through Randy Burkholz is his name?
Burkholz, the same as me.
Burkholz. Yeah, the same as you. And
The
I
same
take this clearing to the multidimensional levels of reality and throughout all time, space, and dimensions, both known or unknown. And I declare it so be it. It is done. And we remove all spirits of disease, illness, or sickness. I'm just letting the pendulum, it's doing its own thing here, still going sort of crazy here as it does its thing. For some reason, I seem to be on the fourth chakra, 1, 2, 3, 4 chakra. Seems to be the one that wants to clear. All right, so we're just going to check in here. Yeah, you should feel a lot better, but you might want to do a deep clearing. I think that my sense is that this is a reoccurring problem. If it's not one thing, another. Is that right? Yeah. So I know he's probably not ready to do a deep clearing, right?
I would say not.
No, it's too woo-woo for him. But guess what? You're related to him, so you can do it for him.
That's right.
And the reason you do it for him because your dad will benefit from it, your son will benefit from it, and you'll have a much more peaceful property to live on.
Well, and his son will benefit too, and I hope that he does as well, you know?
Yeah, absolutely he will. So yeah, so just say, when I clear myself, I clear my family, and I clear my land, and then just do the deep clearing. I don't think you're going to need to do it, the whole thing, but you can get hold of me, phone me, and I'll shorten it down for you so it doesn't take you a long period of time. We'll just figure out which ones you need to do for your brother, okay?
Sure.
All right. So thanks for showing up. That's great. Oh, Ruinous has something he wants to say.
I have a question. Dyson. Can you check, does her brother has Helicobacter pylori bacteria?
All right, did you check?
I haven't checked.
No, I'm asking Ruinous, did you check?
I don't work without images.
Oh, you don't work without images. Okay. So say that again.
Helicobacter pylori, H. pylori bacteria.
Hi, Lori. Yeah.
Yeah, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Okay. So
Does
what
he
needs to be? Yes, he does. So what needs to be done, Ruinous?
I have a positive answer, but because I don't deal without, I'm not sure about this. I never practice the way you guys do.
Mhm.
Well, Helicobacter pylori, H. pylori, it's I dealt with that bacteria, and usually it's involved with the ulcers.
Mhm.
The reason because of ulcers, and that's why he can, maybe it's going to be an ulcer or maybe not. Sometimes it goes together with the stones in gallbladder, or the whole tree, which involved, pancreas, involves the gallbladder, and that's where those bacteria or stomach. That's where all those bacteria are together. So
Mhm.
the bacteria, that's why I'm sorry. I'm skeptical about some healings, online, and people coming and say, maybe I apologize about this, but I am. When somebody comes and say, yeah, heal my brother, or somebody puts a picture with the Uncle John with another little girl or somebody, and say, hey, heal him. So it's a big misunderstanding what's going on, And for example, Dyson did an energy healing for your brother, right?
Mhm.
And he
Yes.
did, but you're not gonna help him with the H. pylori, because bacteria, especially when they spread into multi organs, right? There is a one thing to know: bacteria as well as viruses, they develop the collective mind, so to speak. What is collective mind is like a general, it's like a command center, right? And it resides in our field in a different, in absolutely different, can be in a different organ systems than bacteria itself. So there is a level. So now I go on the way I deal, because I dealt with a lady from California, and I documented this healing. So there is levels for the, first you have to eliminate that command center, and it has two different levels of elimination, and then only then you can go into bacteria. The same way I deal with for example, if you have acne, or somebody has acne, it's the same way. Why doctors can't kill the acne with they use all kind of stuff, and burning and squeezing and putting all the creams and antibiotics, you name it, and it takes for years, because the bacteria spread through all the system. They have X in all this in all system organs. For example, just because it has the pain in the pancreas and the liver, it doesn't mean that that bacteria is not spread through for example, liver, blood system, and so on, so on, so on.
Okay, I'm just going to interrupt you, and
I'm sorry for going that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. The point I want to make is that when we get up in the morning, we can decide what we want to believe and what we don't want to believe, and everybody's belief system is important and relevant to them.
Absolutely.
So, for example, you work with a picture, and my teacher, John Living, works with a picture. He wants also blood samples and hair samples to do exorcism of possession. I find I don't need those. I don't. Okay, I'm just saying this. I'm fine that I don't need those.
But that's a difference. That's what I mentioned so many times, because many people also, they think the same like you, Tyson, and your energy level and your level, it's absolutely, you're from like a different planet to me.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, when Trudy's going to be is in the healing course, and we do go teach all the protocols of how to do this and why you do it this way and everything. And it is true that after a certain period of time, I mean, you need to start with that, absolutely. But after a while, you're going to get psychic and intuitive. You will not need to have as many props. But back to the whole idea of, you know, of the various levels to clear viruses. You know, if you learn from Raymond Grace, he just uses scramble, deactivate, and neutralize in his clearing protocol to clear the virus. So again, it depends on what you feel is necessary for you. Now, having said that, what I really is, we can do this for your brother. We can help your brother do this. But ultimately, it's your brother's energy field that has to be raised so he doesn't get reinfected again. Because we could clear him to the moon, you know, to the cow jumps over the moon, but until he actually raises his energy through his, you know, having a different attitude or learning how to clear himself or getting over his stress so he doesn't have ulcers, he will reinfect. Mind you, the more you do it because you're part of his family, you're going to build his energy up anyway. Would it be faster if he did it? Absolutely. But, you know, you've incarnated with him and you got that divine right to work with him because it's going to affect your family. And so I really encourage you, go do it. Go kick some butt.
Thanks, Tyson. I will do that.
You don't need his permission to do it either. Just go do it.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
May I show something?
Yeah.
The people understand what Raymond says. That works for me.
Yeah.
Remember, whatever you have a super teacher or master like Raymond or like Tyson, right?
Yeah.
That always applies. That works for me because they are at a high level as the healers and the teachers, and they ascend way, way, way higher. So whatever works for them, you can follow those steps. But the bottom line, you're still gonna develop your own healing method or own healing approach. So I do, for example, I'm different than Tyson. I can douse a little bit, but this is my principle. I don't do that because I more precise because I work with the frequencies. I read frequencies of bacteria, of entities, and so on and so on. Some entities I can clean different way, just with the thought process or mantras. But when I go into those kind of things like bacteria or something like, for example, I work with the stones. I work through the frequencies, and basically it's involved in coding, the energy coding. So it's just that, which is also part of the dowsing, but it's different angle.
Yeah, radionics is a very, very, very powerful way to. David Cowan, who passed on, was very, very good with that. He started off with a QX machine, which I don't know, has hundreds and hundreds of protocols in it, and you put electrodes on the person, and it gives a diagnosis of all these different healing modalities of what's necessary for the body. And then he went and learned how to dowse from Raymond. He came back, and I worked with him, and he got me really excited. So I went and learned from Raymond too. Within 2 months, he had integrated that whole protocol, all of those programs in the computer inside of himself. So what I meant is that when he dowsed, he could do it faster than the machine could do it. And so he was then able to generate the radionics numbers. Like he would just say, okay, first number, 1 through 9, dials it. Second number, first of all, how many numbers are there, right? First number, second number, third number, fourth number. And he would determine the frequency for what that person needed, and then broadcast it through the frequency machine. So, it was really a great example of how radionics can be very, very powerful, like you say, Ruinous, to deal with specific vibration, like the frequencies of viruses and diseases and disorders. Powerful, powerful stuff, right? And literally, according to Rife, under the microscope, when he was able to see it, you put a 1 frequency of the virus and you match it with the frequency of the radionics, and it cancels the 2 out. It's gone, dead, finished. And it would work for cancer too. That's why he was raided and shut down. It works for every disease and disorder. There's a matching frequency that is the life force of that certain frequency of the virus or the amoeba or whatever it is. So, yeah, I agree with you, Ruinous. It's very powerful stuff.
But that's just my approach, and Dyson has his own approach. Somebody has his own approach, and they all work. And doesn't mean that, let's say, if I disagree, and I always say, if I disagree, that means that's the way I don't do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean somebody, the Dyson, whatever he does, he does something wrong. No, it worked for him, and that's what I believe this show is all about. And Dyson wants to encourage everybody to try it, not just get a ABC for dowsing and you claim yourself as a healer. It doesn't work that way too, and it doesn't work that way, in my opinion. Doesn't work that we can heal somebody with a minute of dowsing. We can help like a prayer. We can help to clean some energies. We can extract entities or whatever. But my belief, to kill a bacteria is impossible. But that's my opinion. We can argue about this or disagree about this, but that's how it flows in the life, and that's why medicine, and when Dyson saw, when I do, I always ask a diagnosis from the doctor, because just understand, and everybody, I encourage everybody who trying to go through the path of as a healer, who really deals with the diseases. So imagine the specialists, the doctors, they diagnose, they check the blood, they the system and whatever, they trying to find the disease. We don't have those tools. We have only on a vibrational level we can do, and on imaginary level, intuition, or so on and so on. And when we start to tell people that, oh yeah, we're just gonna eliminate the frequencies, and we even don't know what kind of frequencies.
Yeah, in my world, you don't need to know. In my world, you can do that. In my world, you can do anything that you choose to do, and you can have results of it.
That's a difference.
Yeah. So, and there's nothing wrong with the way that you're doing it. And I think as, to learn protocols and to learn different methods. And I agree with you, like Raymond says, it works for me. Well, it works for me as well. Thank God I met Raymond, because it's straightforward, no fuss, no nuts. I like the way that he shows up in the world, right? He's a little tougher at it than I am. I don't scramble, deactivate, and neutralize anymore. I transmute, transform, heal, and repair. I don't open up people's skulls and scramble their brains if they're, if I feel that they are doing something wrong, where they are an abuser or whatever. I don't do that. I have a much more compassionate approach. But the basic techniques I learned come from Raymond and come from John Living. John, the beauty of John is in the course, in distant healing courses, he lays out really clear protocols for people, because he comes from an analytical, rational background. He was an engineer. So for him, there has to be proof positive that this works. So he doesn't even like to use the word dowsing. He likes to use the word intuitive technology because he believes that there's certain systems, there's certain protocols, there's certain checks and balances that you need to do, just like you're saying, you know, a doctor needs to do a diagnosis, right? And of course, we can't use the word diagnosis. It's, you know, without getting into a problem with the medical profession, because that's their area. They won't, you know, the medical profession doesn't allow you to use the word diagnosis or even to cure or even to heal. So, but we can talk about, you know, moving stress, changing energy fields. Legally, we can talk about that. But in actual fact, all of what they do, we can do energetically. And it's been proven, scientific evidence, which I find really exciting, you know, that there's actual proof of that this actually does work. So what could be better than that? It's much more simple. So anyway, I'm going to head over to the Dowsing Energy Healing. I was starting there, and I know there were some requests there. We haven't been there for a while to do some clearing for some people. And you're absolutely right, Ruinous. Yes, I can take the energy and transmute it for the people to make it easier for them in the short term. But ultimately, they're the ones that has to do the work. That's why the deep clearing is really powerful, is for people to change the way they show up in the world in 21 days by doing the deep clearing. It really does send a message from their conscious mind to their subconscious mind that they want to show up in a different way. And then the subconscious mind starts to run that clearing protocol 24/7, 365. And that's running in the background. And then they can focus through the short clearing on the specific things they want to change in their lives. Anyway, thank you for showing up, Misty, and starting this discussion. And good luck with your brother. And give your little one a hug for me.
I will. See you soon, Tyson.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
I know you got to go.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just going to head over to the Dowsing Energy Healing. And Charlene Christos was saying for Tuesday, disappointment and fear. And it's really interesting, Charlene. I don't know if you're going to be listening to this call, but I was on your Facebook page and you have so many positive comments and coming from a very high level of discussion. But it was interesting. I just watched a video about millennials, and I don't know if you're a millennial, whereas they're so used to being on Facebook and having a positive attitude when in actual fact there's lots going on that they don't have people to talk about. So maybe that's happening with you as well. So let's see who else we have. We have C. John Womb. She's having pain and sciatic nerve pain. If you're having pain like that, and like a nerve pain or a sciatic pain, I really highly recommend that you think about structural readjustment in the point of view of going to the gym. Now, I'm not, what I mean is I would suggest you Google Dr. Fitness USA. That's a program I'm on, and there's a program for women and for men that will help you in the gym actually body so that your back will be adjusted so that you'll be pain-free. If that doesn't work, there's other things you can do, but I highly recommend it. It worked for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for you, but there's no reason why you couldn't try that. So I'm just going to put that in there for you to go and Google Dr. Fitness USA. And I'll actually put you the link in here for you later to get you connected. So that's what I recommend for that. And Ashley Glass Wells, intense headache and fear. Yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah, for headaches and fear, most of it's stress related from my experience. So if you can stay out of fear, and if you can use the fear as an opportunity to reassess how you're showing up in your life. What I mean by that is it's you have a choice. You don't. The fear is a choice that you make. It's scaring the bejesus out of you, or you can choose that it's an opportunity to show up in a different way. So we can douse in the sense of relieving some of the pressure around that. And then Anna has Thomas says, trauma from my son and me of the process of having to go to court with a manipulator. Well, Anna, there is a group, and I'll connect you to the group that was started through this group that has to do with going to court and with different people, like you're talking about a manipulator or somebody that's highly aggressive. So I will give you that link as well. And Carolyn Mills said, clearing out my lymphatic system. Thank you. Yeah, let me just see what's going on with you. I'm just curious. Yeah, you're really plugged up there. See if we can give you some relief with your lymphatic. Do I need to know anything else? No. Okay, so here goes. So I, Tyson Bannigan, my holy name on behalf of everybody on this call, now and in the future, who is having any issues with regard to the lymphatic system or lymphedema, that I undertake this clearing through the multidimensional levels of reality and with the system of Divine Mother and Creator of all that is, to remove all intrusions into the energy field from all sources, both known or unknown, that are leading to this complication. And I declare it so in my holy name, so be it, it is done. Thank you. So that's the short form. And you can pretty well fill in any blank, into the blank, anything that you want to clear. And the reason this works for me is because I've done the deep clearing protocol. I've created it and done it so many times that it's running into my subconscious. So the short clearing, which is symbolized by the pendulum rotating as the clearing action comes to resolution here. There was quite a lot of action there. And when it comes to a nil point, I just check in and see how it's doing. So in a moment, they're free and clear. And I encourage you to, and anybody else listening to this call, to, if you haven't done the deep clearing protocol, I suggest you do it. Judgments of myself and others. Yeah, that's a big one. If we can stop judging ourselves, we are loved by Creator, always have been, always will be. We could never get it wrong. We can make our lives more difficult. So the only judgment comes from yourself. And the counter to that is to learn how to love yourself unconditionally, which is getting out of fear, shame, guilt, and all the negative emotions. Again, a deep clearing really helps you do that. Let me just see if we can take some of this. So I, Tyson Bannigan, in my holy name, undertake a clearing for everybody listening to this call now and in the future to help people remember why they incarnated and why they're here, and that they are truly loved by Creator, always have been and always will be, and that they just connect them from all programs from the matrix that nullify their connection to source, or their belief that they're connected to source, and undertake this clearing throughout the multidimensional levels of reality and throughout all time, space, and dimensions. Okay, implants and psychic objects from Dr. Badgel. Those really can be done through the deep clearing protocol. There's a lot on implants, psychic objects, both from ETs and government intervention. And Annette Thornson, stiffness in my body and any negativity. Let me just see how you're doing. We've been working together. I've been working with Annette for quite a while now. She's been going through an awful lot. Annette, you're doing much better than normal. You're 75% clear. So just do a clearing here. So let's see, on behalf of Annette, so I, Tyson Banning, on behalf of Annette, clear her energy field of any and all intrusions from any and all sources, both known or unknown. I clear throughout the multidimensional levels of reality and throughout all time, space, and dimensions, both known or unknown. And I declare it so, so be it. It is done. Thank you. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth chakra clearing. Okay, we're just letting it come to rest. Okay, we're just going to tune into that. Okay. Misty D, I was reading old poems wrote in 2011 while cleaning up my garage. So much pain on these pages. I bawled my eyes out reading them. So for me, I would like healing for the unheard parts of me that needed love and didn't receive any. Confused me, angered me, pushed me too far away, feeling trapped me. Well, Misty, you just did a lot of the work yourself by actually reading all those poems, processing all those emotions, allowing them to be converted into tears, which then allows you to then de-stress and let that energy out of your body. So well done. The more you can do that, the more you can clear what no longer serves you by doing just what you did, letting those feelings of anger, the need for love, what you didn't receive, letting that go out of your body is really, really powerful. So thank you. Monique says residue of injustice. Charlene Krista says disappointment and fear. Candle Arawak says that which is a prohibiting from me recalling and understanding languages I've spoken in many a past existence. So be it. I talked about that, Candle, at the very beginning of this call. So go to the beginning of this where I talked about the ability to move beyond language to the language of light and telepathy, and that all at that level of knowingness or beingness or dwellingness, you can speak with the angels, you can speak with the elementals, you can speak with the whales, you can speak with the dolphins and the ETs, and you'll remember, well, actually that stage of knowingness or awareness, language ceases to have any relevance because it's just telepathic. But it will allow you to remember also other languages if you do choose to do that. Sunshine Gabby, trauma, pain, fear, pain, anger, resentment of any other lingering emotions from abrupt separation. All right, so I'm just going to do an overall clearing for everybody on this call. So I'm going to do this. We're going to do it at the base chakra. So I, Tyson Bannigan, on behalf of everybody listening to this call, are asking or requesting through the dowsing and energy healing closed Facebook group that asks for clearing under the Sunday posting. I remove all non-beneficial energies from any and all sources, both known or unknown, and I clear them throughout all time, space, and dimensions. And I declare it so be it. It is done. Thank you. I'm just letting it come to rest now. And as a Ruinous would say, this is just an energy clearing. You still got to do the work, but it does give you some relief in the short term. And as a dowser, I'm not a healer. I am a person that teaches people how to heal themselves. And that's the important thing. I'm not an exorcist. I don't offer a silver bullet. I teach people how to clear themselves, how to do their own exorcism, how to take back their power, how to stand in their truth, and how to heal themselves. I do not heal people. All right, this still has some action going on here. Quite a bit of stuff being cleared here. Starting to slow down now. Okay, so just going to tune in there. All right, so that should help take off the pressure. Cheryl Davis, if you're listening to this show now in the future, I understand all the pain and suffering you're going through, and I understand that life has not been easy for you. I know that you have a decision about whether you want to live or whether you want to die. But I have to really say to you in all honesty, asking for 1 million people to help you with 1 million solutions and not getting on with doing the work yourself really just postpones the inevitable. That the only person that can heal you is you, and the only person that can help you in the end is you. I encourage you to do the deep clearing. I've told you that many, many times for the last 3 months. I don't know whether you're doing it or whether you intend to do it, but really, to be honest, the good Lord helps those that help themselves. So Yes, I know. This sounds like I'm impatient with you. It sounds like I don't care. It sounds like I'm being mean. But in actual fact, you know, you got to get yourself a grip on yourself, and you got to do the work, or you won't get the results. And if you choose to take yourself off the planet, so be it. Guess what? You'll just get to reincarnate back, and sooner or later you're going to be back in the same situation. At least that's what I believe in my world. And so why not get it done this time? So I really encourage you to do that. Sunshine, thank you for the comment. I came up. I don't know where the comment is, but thank you for commenting during the show, and I'll catch up with that later. Okay, so that was all the requests for Personal Clearing Tuesday. And just gonna go back over to Zoom and say hello to people there, see if anybody else is showing up. And so, yeah, I'm back over here. It looks like anybody else that was on the call has decided that they wouldn't be here. So there you are. Ruinous did some energy clearing for people, and Trudy. And so, any comments, feedback, Ruinous?
Well, I want to highlight one of your very important thought that you have to do by yourself. And actually, if anybody gonna look at any healing modality, I have quite a few of them, and my latest is obviously dowsing. It's designed for people to heal themselves in the first place, not to jump and to work on somebody else, because it's you dealing with the karmic stuff, you're dealing with the multi-dimensional levels, and the easiest way to do just learn yourself. And trust me, just because you're learning the basics, you're not gonna help yourself. And all those schools that exist for a reason. You have an opportunity to learn from Dyson. Pay extra, pay for that because it's worth it. It's many people think that, okay, healing has to be free. Teaching has to be free. People have to spend time with you for free. It doesn't work that way. Nobody works for free, and it's worth it, because bottom line, you're gonna learn to take care about yourself, and you're gonna learn to take care about your family members, and that's a lot. That's absolutely a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Ruinous. Yeah, the thing about dowsing, which is really, really good, is that I have many, many modalities like Ruinous, but really what dowsing really helps you do is to give you the background information necessary to know which modality would be the best to work with a client. And it is true that our ability to help others is equally dependent on how much we can help ourselves. And what I mean by that is, the more I love myself unconditionally and deal with my own trauma and unresolved conflict, emotional core fractures, and all of the stuff in my life, the more ability and energy I have to help other people do the same. So there's a direct correlation there between my ability to heal myself and my ability to help other people heal themselves. And so that's really important. Like Ruinous would say, is if you're going to work with somebody, make sure that they actually have done the work. They're just not talking about it. Now, I have seen some amazing results from beginners in the field. Again, it has to do with their integrity and their ability to really learn how to do it themselves. And so if they've had results with themselves, they'll have results with their clients. That's the exciting part. So if you're in a course or you're learning how to do something, make sure it works for you first so that you can make sure that it worked for somebody else. So any wise words from our friend Trudy here? You haven't had a chance to say anything so far.
Well, that's what you get when you show up late. Yeah, I just wanted to speak to Misty that called in, and definitely what I've been learning this week is the healing with what lots of the ladies that I've been working with in a team. A lot of the calls and comments on there was about, if we do the work ourselves, does this affect our children? And they were concerned about younger children and how if they're living in our energy field within our home. But then there were other women asking about, you know, if my son's 25 and he doesn't live with me now, if I'm doing this work, does that effect ripple onto them? And yes, definitely. What I've been working with this week and with these other women is how, when we work on our own healing and our own lineage and our own genetics, when we can stop belief systems travelling through families and illnesses travelling through our families, that can ripple out so far. And yeah, it's interesting where she was asking if I do this, is that going to help my brother? So her doing the work is very important. And even if he's not accepting of it, you never know how much just doing the work is actually going to change his consciousness and raise his awareness as well as he goes along. And sometimes it's just speaking to them in little tiny bits and not being too, if it's too much for them, just speaking to them on their level, so that you're still sowing the seed. And yeah, I kind of think of it like farming. You're kind of just sowing a little seed at a time, and you've got to wait for it to grow a little bit so that they can sit with that person, and then you can talk to them a little bit more and a little bit more. But if you talk to them too much, then they just kind of shut down and shut you out. Right. And that can be very frustrating. And as a helper, like, and even for herself and for myself, I really this week saw how trying to be the helper, the fixer, the rescuer, I always have to catch myself and call myself on that and go, where am I overstepping my boundary here, and trying to be the helper and the rescuer, because that doesn't help and save anyone. So just working with my own consciousness and my own awareness, and then raising that for other people and sending that to other people, how that ripples and flows around through us all, and how that can ripple through our family and through our lineage and stop some very powerful patterns and things that are coming through. Yeah, so that's about all we've got to say today.
I have a story I want to share with you because you're a horse lady. Being recently back to my favorite place, Gateway 2 Ranch, and being with the horses that I haven't been with for, I guess it's 10 years now. But it was great to see them all again and be with them. And one of the stories in Liz Mitten-Ryan's new book is that one of the people that came to her week-long course, Equinocity Retreat, learned to be with the horses and to be one with the horses. And when she went home, all of her horses greeted her, and the message she got from her horses was, we're horse healers, we're human healers as well. So I love that story, because not only are you helping your family, like you say, but when you make the connection, say, with your horses and your animals, over at somebody else's ranch, you have an aha. All of your horses at home get it as well, because you're part of that field, right? They understand the gifts that you're receiving. So for you, you're not only the healer of people, you're the healer of the animals. So every time you raise your consciousness and connect with the animal kingdom, all the animal kingdom responds, which is what you experienced with the owls. So I just wanted to share that's pretty neat, that, the horses greeted her and wanted to remind her, hey, that we know how to do all that too, now that you understand that we have that capability.
Actually, last week when I was rushing to get home that morning from Adelaide so that I could get on our webinar for the morning, and when I went to turn onto my property road, there had been a kangaroo hit on the highway in the centre and in the centre lane, and I had to turn off up to the property, and it spoke to me straight away, like, pick me up, pick me up, pick me up. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll have to come back in the ute. and pick you up, but I've just got to go do this webinar. And I came back and did our webinar, and I spoke with you about the owls, and I knew I couldn't lift the kangaroo by myself. So I got my daughter and I said, can you come down to the highway? We need to pick up this kangaroo and bring it home and bury it. And she was like, oh, really, Mum? I was like, yes. Like, it asked me to do this morning. I need to do this. Can you please come and help me? Anyway, just as we were going out the driveway, a little tiny baby kangaroo was sitting there waiting, and I've never seen a kangaroo right at my gate. We don't have many kangaroos here where we're farming, but it was like waiting at the gate, like, help, can you come and help? So it was really, really touched. When something like that happens, it just goes whoomp straight into you, and you're like, something's happening here that I can't explain.
Did you happen to see, I don't know if you know that I have a page, it's what is it called? Earth Stewards on Facebook. And so I have it comes from the work that I did as an environmentalist for 30 years. I created a nonprofit charitable organization called Turtle Island Earth Stewards, deepening the sacred connection between land and people. I started it in 1975, and it ran until well into the 80s and 90s. But I've continued on with that vibrational frequency in the Earth Stewards on Facebook. And there I posted an Australian who has rescued kangaroos, especially being hit on the highway, and the little ones that, survive. And you'll love to see that, watch it. The relationship between him and his baby roos and his kangaroos is just so heart-opening, right? What he's doing with those kangaroos. Because I know in Australia, it's just another roo, who gives a shit, right? They're everywhere, the bastards, they're nothing but trouble and blah, blah, blah. And here this guy has this intimate connection with the kangaroos, and the response he gets from them is absolutely amazing. So now you have kangaroos talking to you too, not only owls.
Yeah, well, I think it was part of my healing. A lot of my family, I'm from further, I'm closer to the city now where I live near my farm, but I used to be from the outback, and a lot of my family and brothers and things like that have been kangaroo shooters, so they do this for a living,
right?
For skins and things like that. So I knew picking up this kangaroo for this time, it was about me honouring the kangaroo and saying sorry for what I've done or what part I've taken in that, and that's not me anymore, and that's what I am leaving behind. And that it was very symbolic and quite very emotional actually for me to sit there and just come back to where my soul actually wants to be, as opposed to the conditioning of my family and my upbringing.
Yeah, that's interesting. So how did your sister deal with, not your sister, how did your daughter, did she get over the old mum? Like at the end, was she?
Well, she doesn't quite understand me picking these animals up and bringing them home and burying them yet, but she does understand, and she could actually even see when we drove out the driveway, I was like, how many times have you seen a baby kangaroo waiting at our doorstep pretty much? Like, don't you think that that's a coincidence? So it just takes those coincidences for her to actually come on board as well and see, and the owls that in the trees that started to come above the house, and the crows and things that start to come in and want to inhabit our area. So how many coincidences can happen before people start to say something's going on here?
Right. So how old is your daughter?
She's 19.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what does mom know? But anyway, at that age, right? Yeah, mom's a little crazy, but we have to put up with her. Yeah. Well, more synchronicity, more connections, and she's going to get it.
Yeah, and her and her partner, since they've come home from the station, they came home from the Northern Territory, and they were living on a cattle place and eating a lot of meat. And since they've moved home now, even last night, we just had vegetables for tea. So they, just by being and doing what I'm doing and leading with that, they're actually, those things are starting to fall away from them as well. And they were very resistant to it when they came home, because my daughter's not used to me always being like this. It's just been a big chop and a big change, and yeah, so, but now I just was like, no, this is what I'm doing. And they've just starting to, I can see how they're starting to come into alignment as well, which is really nice because in the past, I've been a very pushy, controlling, organising type person, and now I'm just like, I really don't care what any of you are doing, but this is what I'm doing, and it's really nice to see how they're just coming into alignment without me saying, no, we're not doing this, or you're not doing that.
Right.
So,
Well, I have another story. On the Sunday call, there's a group of us that meets. One was Australian, but she's not on the call anymore. Most of them from the United States, and myself and my wife from Canada. And it's a Sunday call when I led it, and it had to do with horses. And I don't know if I told you this, but there's 17 horses. There may be more here that have been rescued from the slaughter. Where they're slaughtered for meat and sent to Germany for people to eat horse meat. And these are like amazingly beautiful horses, and some of them have newborns, and they're horses that anybody would love to have, right? And they were all on the way to the slaughter, and have been rescued. And anyway, this really bothered me. So on the call, I did a clearing, running divine mother energies that had to do with really confession to the animal kingdom about our need to devour them, and asking for a full court of atonement to come to reconciliation for the pain that we're creating to the animal kingdom, and that, in order to have heaven and earth, we need to move past this. And one of the people on the call said that she had a really amazing reaction to it, because her family is German and have been butchers for generations, right? And she never ever made any sense of it or even thought about it. But the call stirred her so deeply that she stopped eating meat for a period of time as she came to reconciliation about what that meant in her lineage and her relationship to animals. So it's interesting, because most people are operating at a subconscious, or almost even a subconscious, an automatic consciousness about eating meat. They're so divorced about what that means to eat meat and what suffering animals do go through, that it's hard for them to understand why anybody wouldn't eat meat, right? It's just illogical to most people. But for her in that moment, she got it, and she understood it on a deep level. And so it's nice that your children or certainly your daughters getting it in a very peaceful way. It's just becoming natural, right? It's just, it's not a big deal anymore. It's just, hey, mom eats vegetables, and hey, these don't taste so bad after all.
yeah, I've worked in the livestock industry all my life, so I know exactly where all my meat comes from. I've slaughtered meat before. My dad is pretty much a butcher and still is. I have seen animals being slaughtered in a very respectful way, and I'm not sure that would make any difference to me now, but I'm not sure. I'm really feeling at the moment the way and the fear that with animals, when you truck an animal, they're scared on the trucks, they're scared in the sale yards, they're actually emptied out and starved, for days before they reach those abattoirs. There's a huge process there where that animal is not comfortable. It's not in the paddock eating and grazing, and it's not happy. So what's in those cells that you're eating, and when you're eating that meat, the memory that's actually in those cells and the trauma that's in that meat that you're eating has to have, an impact on us. The vibration of that has to have an impact on us.
Have you watched that video of the lady? I don't know if she's Australian or not, who she's has changed the whole meat industry and the way cattle are treated and dealt with, where she's figured out exactly how to move them in the pen and how to make it a much more benevolent act for the animals, and has actually changed slaughterhouses. And I agree with you, not that it makes any difference for me whether I'm, eat meat or not, but certainly I agree with you totally. that if you are going to eat meat, then, compassionate slaughtering makes all the difference in the world. Or kosher or whatever, grass-fed is really important. Taking care of the animals is extremely important. All that, like you say, takes out all that adrenaline and all that fear out of the meat, and you're not digesting it. So, there's intermediate steps, and that's one of the intermediate steps that I highly recommend. Yeah, and so for you, coming from that culture, coming from that background, that's all second nature for you, or has been for most of your life. So, you understand all the levels of that to come to the decision you have. This is not just some airy-fairy decision you made out of the blue, right? You came to it knowing the whole background to it. And also you have the ability to respect all your family for what they do. I mean, they still are doing what they do, and they're going to do what they do, right? So.
Well, hopefully working on myself that'll ripple out to them in some form, and they might not get it now, they might not get it in another 5 years, but at some stage, if I keep sowing that seed a tiny bit at a time, that they may get it. And if they don't, then that's something that they'll have to come back and heal in another lifetime. So I'm not coming to that total surrender of I'm not here to help and rescue and save everyone.
Yeah.
I'm here to raise the vibration and send out the correct message and lead with that. And and I think that can help, the whole industry, because the whole industry, the stress less stock handling, I've been doing that since I started in the stock industry as a young ringer, and the stress less stock handling, it all comes from that perspective of if we keep the cattle quiet and they have less stress, we can make more dollars off them because they're not going to lose as much weight. It all comes from that kind of perspective where, I know I'm not going to stop the whole world from eating meat, but I think I would love to teach it at some stage from a perspective of the kinder we can be to these animals and the less stressful it is if you are going to eat meat, and that animal is respected and it's done in a very respectful way. How much I'm not sure where he come to with that, like how much better it can be, but I can certainly make a change in the industry of this can be much better for the animals from that perspective, not just from what it's going to line the farmer's pocket with dollars.
Right. Yeah, and it's the same, and we could spend hours talking about this, the same as the concept of breaking horses, or, and working with livestock. There's no need to break horses. All you have to do is learn how to communicate with them and send them the right signals, like the lead mare does, in order for them to feel comfortable about working with humans, right? Not as though you break their spirit, but that's a whole nother topic. But, there's so much in your culture that you're in such a unique position, and being a female and having these points of view and coming to this here on your own. You don't have an easy path, is what I'm saying, but that's okay. Yeah, that's where you are.
I've had a pretty hard life preparing me for this, so I know that everything I've endured has been for tougher times to come. I'm probably going to come up against some pretty tough minds to try and change in my path, and I'm totally up for that, I think.
That's right. Yeah, you've been trained by the best. Nothing like the boys behind the back stump to get you all trained up, boy. So, Ruinous, any comments from your point of view?
Well, it just proves that when you diving into any healing modality, and if you start learning dowsing, it's not only about just a healing or finding some ring on the beach or cleaning the glass of water. It's the spiritual growth which drives us further and further into learning about all those things. It's never ending. It's like unlimited knowledge and understanding, and everything expands, and consciousness and intuition expands, and knowledge all together. And that's what it's all about. It's worth studying and worth learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is all energy. And, whatever we can do to raise our own energy, what we feel called to, and you have to feel called to, whether it's, becoming a vegetarian or whether it's learning to clear your bioenergy field or learning how to heal yourself or, clearing or relieving yourself of, core fractures, or like that lady who going through her boxes and crying as she reads all the poems and letting go of it. Whatever it takes to do it, it's well worth it to raise your energy field. So it just makes your life so much easier. You just are so much closer to the divine flow. And who doesn't want to have more ease and grace in their life? I mean, why do we want to learn the hard way? Why do we want to learn through the school of hard knocks and pains and suffering? I'm not saying we will avoid it, but certainly as we raise our vibration and we deal with what shows up, there's less lessons that are painful in the old way and the way that we were learning before. So that's what I want in my life. We're over the top of the hour. I think there is, let's see here, if we've got anything else. No, I think we're going to wrap it up then. So thanks everybody for showing up. Thank you, Trudy. Thank you, Ruinous. Thank for everybody for their comments on the dowsing energy closed Facebook group. Thank you, Misty, for showing up. And yeah, let's all make this a better world to live in. And let's do it by clearing ourselves.
Have a blessed day.
Yeah, have a great week, everybody. Blessings.
Namaste.
The Healing Hour, brought to you every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Time or 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. During the show, you can phone in toll-free in North America, 1-866-369-7464 or 1-866-dowsing. The Healing Hour is live on Facebook, hosted by the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy and sponsored by the Facebook page, The Healing Arts Academy. Produced by The Wellness Show, and until next Tuesday, same time, same place, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.